Hello there, Chick Chatters. We're here to talk about sister wives. Sister wives. Gotta talk about sister wives. Not sister wives. So we went on a little hiatus last week. We had our annual Christmas party with our friends, so I flew up to Michigan, and we were just really busy that week. So we kind of skipped an episode. Our Sister Wives views aren't really doing as great this season. I don't know what's going on with everybody's Sister Wives content. In fact, I don't know if you saw that commenter recently. I haven't replied to them yet, but they said that they saw that we're covering it because they haven't seen that we've been covering it or something. So I don't think it's getting recommended.
Gotcha.
If you guys want to catch the Sister Wives videos, help us out. Make sure your notifications are on. Sometimes YouTube doesn't really recommend the right videos at the right times.
And if you want to help us grow, you can always press the share and press the copy link. And that helps us to grow in the algorithm so that it gets shared with other people in their For You pages. We're happy that you're all here.
Yeah, we've been at a standstill of about like 719 to 720 subscribers. It fluctuates, but it's been going crazy on us for the last like 2 months.
Thanks for sticking around to all you OG Chick Chatters, and welcome to all the new ones, because we do have some new ones just filtering in here and there. So thanks for joining us if you're just joining us. But we did miss the last episode, so we have a couple of honorable mentions. Obviously, the biggest thing that happened is that the land is paid off. I'm a little bit sad that all this time we've been talking about this damn land and that we missed that episode, but we were very, very busy last week and we had a lot of fun at our party. But the land is finally paid off. I have learned some things outside of the show about this land, as we all have, but I've heard that part of the land was already paid off when they originally purchased the property, and that part of that land was Meri's land. And so why Meri is showing up with a quarter of the rest of the money when her land is paid off baffles me. But I do know that the contract is written as such that they would lose Meri's land if they didn't pay this money. So I'm sure Cody is leveraging that appropriately for him and his pretty quiet, shy wife.
Well, that also confuses me because right now Meri is seemingly only entitled to like a portion of a portion. But if the land is in her name originally, that's kind of confusing.
Well, there were 2 parcels that were paid for, and there were 2 parcels that have the balloon payment on them. And the one that Meri's name is on was paid for. But because they had the 2 that were paid for as collateral for the 2 that were not paid for, they could have lost it all. So I see why Meri is inclined to pony up this money, but also she's essentially paying for this land twice, because I bet they used Meri's money to pay for her land in the beginning.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Meri's the cash cow.
Yeah. And what's funny is that Cody couldn't even pretend to care about Stonehenge for 5 minutes to appease her, even though he's here to take her money.
Could not be bothered for more than 30 seconds. Meanwhile, we saw Meri having a whole spiritual moment over there in England. She should just move to damn England. Honestly, she'd be happier there.
She would.
We also saw Cody weeping outside of his Las Vegas house, which I wouldn't necessarily bring up, except he does have an interesting conversation with his brother and I think his other brother. They ask, as always, everyone always asks, is he ever going to get married again? And he says no. And then in his confessional, he says, referring to the wives, that he loved them and he loved his family. He said, was I in love with them? Did I have the same experiences with them? No, never. That's a hard confession to make when I was working really hard to hide what Robyn and I had. So that's it. That's done. The confession is made. I do not want to hear Cody going back and forth about this ever again. I want Meri to just shut her mouth and stop talking about this. He is in love with Robyn. He doesn't care for anyone else. He does not care to do anything with anyone else.
Yeah, imagine living though in those houses knowing that Cody comes there every 6 months to like
That's probably why they put a damn gate up, because he was there in that episode. Oh, well, I was here about 6 months ago and I just had a complete meltdown. He was probably weeping in the middle of the my family.
Where he had that ladder where he was going up to put the lights. He was probably right smack dab in the middle of the call.
Right there. Wasted.
That's probably exactly why they got the gate. It's so strange to go there. I mean, I get it, but why make a whole trip to Vegas just so you can go to the graveyard of what once was?
Yeah.
You just shouldn't have never left.
Yeah. And the thing that he says that I think connects back to this episode that we're going to review today is that he tells his brothers that he thinks that polygamy kills emotional intimacy, and that is what he wants to have in a relationship, and that is what he has with Robyn. So that's part of the reason he's thinking he's never going to marry again, because he wants to continue to have some emotional intimacy.
Okay.
I'll connect that back later.
I think he can't marry again because once you failed all these marriages, you shouldn't even be allowed.
I think that that's his reality, but the way Cody would like to live, he can't.
It just shouldn't be allowed. You failed too many times. Your license to marry is revoked.
But you know what? Monogamous people get married 3 times and divorced 3 times, and you know they be on husband.
He got 3 in 1 year. 3 divorces in 1 year. Name another man.
You know, there probably are polygamous men who have that, but I don't know about monogamous men. That was busy. Almost like Amber Portwood's ex-fiance, though. I mean, he got engaged and went missing and got disengaged and then got engaged again. And then I'm pretty damn sure his wedding is this month. So also got married. I'm saying he needs a show because they follow Cody around and he's not doing that much.
MTV is really dropping the ball on this guy.
They dropped the ball. There's no way that they're filming him right now. It's just so sad.
Yeah. All right. Well, back to this episode of Sister Wives. Actually, Brooke has a nice little treat for you guys.
I do, yes. This is episode 13. It's called Give Up the Ghost. And I realized when this was playing that I have this shirt, you guys. I own it. And Robyn and I, we bought it at JCPenney's.
Together. They were together.
On the clearance rack, actually. Or maybe it was Macy's because it was actually that backstage. You know how Macy's has the backstage where everything's kind of cheap, like TJ Maxx. Yeah. That's where I got that shirt. That's where Robyn and I got that shirt.
Do you think Robyn got it before it was on clearance?
Possible.
She got herself real done up for this. She's wearing a strip lash or something. Yeah, I mean, she could smile.
She can't. It's impossible. She's too shy.
This shy.
Is the shy, pretty wife that Cody's referring to right here. This is it.
Bless her. Bless her heart.
Bless her soul.
Meri is going to visit with these ladies who have a history of polygamy. I do want to say it's nice to know that Meri has so many friends. She has the most friends of all the sister wives, I think, which kind of tells me that Meri has either evolved to a likable person or she is a likable person in some way, and they just didn't really get a chance to get to know her because of all the jealousy and stuff.
I think it's that part. I think Meri actually is likable, but she was not likable to her family because the moms didn't like her because of the jealousy, and so ipso facto, a lot of the kids didn't like her. But some of the kids moved in with her periodically and stayed with her, and she made bedrooms for them and whatever. So I think Meri maybe has done some really mean things out of really scary, difficult emotions. Not to dismiss anyone's experiences with Meri that I don't know about, but I think she is actually probably a good person. She's been talking to people online for years and years.
Well, that's how she got catfished.
That's what I mean. She makes friends pretty easily, and she tends to keep them around.
I don't know if you notice this. I mean, it is right in front of us if you want to peep it, but everybody in this polygamy world spells a normal name differently. Like Meri spelled differently, Hilary, Andrea.
I was thinking that too, and I forgot what skit it's even from, but you know that skit where the teacher is calling roll call and everyone's name is spelled weird? Aaron, yes.
Key and Peele, yeah.
That's what it's giving. It's giving Aaron.
They all have normal names, regular names, but they just got to be unique and spell it crazy. All of them, all of her and her friends.
I mean, I guess it's phonetic. It's very obvious what these names are, but yeah, that's not how you spell Andrea or Hillary.
Normally, yeah. I mean, I guess you can spell whatever, however you want. Or Meri. I mean, usually it's Mary.
Or Cody. My husband just learned a couple weeks ago that Cody was Cody with a K because I was typing it while I was watching the show. And he goes, he's Cody with a K? And I'm like, yeah. Well, that explains a lot of things.
Almost none of them. I mean, Janelle and Christine, I think, are normal names, but Robyn is spelled with a Y.
So true.
I mean, they got to switch it up a little bit. Not saying that those are wrong ways to spell stuff. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah. And a lot of their kids, you know, Peyton, Isabel, McKelty, mostly Christine's.
Yeah. Meri's meeting up with these ladies to talk about the downfall of her marriage.
She's talking about this part.
Yeah. And I don't think Meri has yet. No. That's a little bit too much for her right now. She's still trying to get over the fact that Cody was so emotional.
Yeah, which was surprising, I think, to all of us, and still continues to be surprising. I think this is the little emotional spiral that she's in right now that was a result of what Cody did when he said goodbye. Put her into a complete confused tailspin. So I think she went from being very sure to not being so sure. So she needs this little intervention now with her friends.
And she needs it because he got to have his little meltdown and then go home and be fine. He probably didn't give it a second thought once he got home. But now Meri's kind of like, maybe I would have stayed. And I like what this friend said about hoping that she gets to a place where she doesn't say things like, I would have stayed.
Right. She's asking her not to too much dwell on the past, but just be appreciative of it and sort of move on. But she needs this intervention because she is just going on and on and on, all about how polygamy could be good for some people. Her friend ends up saying to her something that connects back to what I was talking about Cody before. And she tells her that when you're in plural marriage, you're spending so much time worrying about your survival that you're not connecting and seeking each other out emotionally. And that's exactly what Cody was speaking to of his experience in plural marriage. And so I think that that is actually something that is fundamental about the different experiences in monogamy versus polygamy. And I know that that's very obvious, but this show, Sister Wives, the whole premise has been to try to show a successful version of it. And I'm not sure that at some point, once your family is so large, no matter how many wives you have, if you can actually legitimately care for everyone and keep everyone happy beyond just keeping survival. And when you're just surviving, you do have a way of convincing yourself that you're happy because you're at least surviving. So there is no way to be happy, just like she said. So I thought that this was really important for her to know. And as you can see, it was hard for Meri to sort of hear this. And she didn't necessarily accept it with open arms, but I think she needed to hear this part of it because she is clinging to plural marriage, possibly even back to Cody.
It's probably been more apparent to Cody that they were always in survival because he's the one that is spread so thin, having to make ends meet to survive with each and every wife. And with the wives, they might have been so distracted by kids and jealousy and other little things that they felt were a huge part of the breakdown. But this girl has a very valid point that if they're always in survival, they're always going to have that jealousy too, because you're going to see one wife getting treated one way or spending time with one way, and then that's going to affect how you feel. This is just my opinion. Some people maybe have a better experience. I don't know. But there is no way that you are a completely secure person. They preach that you are, but as we see with Browns and other people,
you have to more convince yourself of that rather than feel that. It's a natural human instinct. Survival is a human instinct. We couple up out of survival, out of all of that. So I think a lot of those feelings are natural. I've never been in a plural anything, but I try to be open to people's experiences, and not that I judge anyone that's in this, but I agree. And after hearing this, I feel like that validates our shared opinion even more, because these women do know what they're talking about. And I think Meri agrees. She just would not say that out loud right now. And that's kind of this other woman's point too, who was in a plural marriage. It's hard to even express that opinion and express yourself because you're constantly worried about hurting other people's feelings. And if you do that, throws off the whole dynamic, and you don't want to be the one, to blame for all of that. So it's really, I think, just such a tricky situation. We've seen a lot of beautiful things that have happened in the Brown family, especially in the earlier seasons. I think the fact that Christine could raise all these kids while Janelle could work and Meri could kind of, experience a family life without being able to have children of her own, as many as she wanted. I think all of that was beautiful, but I don't think everyone was happy and all their needs were met. I think they were all surviving. And Cody even says, we were not emotionally connecting. I loved them all. So I provided and cared for them all, but I wasn't in love with them like a soulmate is, like he is with Robyn.
Which is why they're all insecure as well. I mean, especially Christine was openly insecure, always talking about being insecure. Meri was definitely insecure. I'm sure Janelle even had insecurities that she just kind of kept to herself because she's way more private. But I don't think you can be secure in yourself and then join plural marriage. Like, you got to have some kind of insecurity going into that, because if you were a fully actualized, self-secure person, you wouldn't agree to such a mess. I deserve a full man.
Honestly, but that's part of the indoctrination of some, religious values and whatever that I could never live in. But I'm sure if I grew up in it or whatever, it would be harder to get away from. I mean, even the Brown kids, there's how many, 20 something of them, and not a single damn one of them want to do that.
Something Meri said that I thought was a little interesting is that in her religion, that you have to suffer to get to heaven, and she doesn't believe that anymore. And I think the context of struggle is something that may vary religion to religion. I come from a more religious background than you do. I went to Catholic school and all that. I feel like even taking the religion out of it, as a person, you need to go through struggle to grow as a person, but I don't think you need to share your mans. I think that's a different struggle.
Totally. I think even as a human, you need to struggle. People do not grow in comfort. Even in bad situations, if you know what to expect and you know how to navigate it, you're never going to grow beyond that. You have to truly be frustrated or angry about the situation. So yes, I very much agree, whether that, stems from a religious perspective or just being a human perspective or survival or whatever. I agree with what you're saying. I think struggle is a necessary part, but you don't have to struggle in
like this
way.
This does not need to be your struggle.
A way of looking at it is that this is Meri's struggle, is to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
She's finally uncomfortable enough in the marriage to get out of it. And so now she is going to grow. So she finally has the opportunity to do something like go to Stonehenge by herself. Could you imagine what Cody would say if Meri wanted to go on a vacation with his money?
I feel like she's had her own money, though, for a long time.
That's what it's been, her money. He just calls it all his money while they're married. He would be like, no, you can't spend our money. We need tires for McKelty's baby.
Tires. He did like to accumulate cars. So
he did. And he talks all the time about how he pays for all the car insurance and blah, 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 blah.
But in the same breath, he'll say that to her. But then if she were to just done it on her own and came back, he wouldn't have known she was gone.
He would have no idea. But Meri would have never, as a married woman, Meri would have never done that either. She was loyal in that way. I mean, everything that she had and earned and worked for was Cody's. And that is lucky for Cody.
They did, 20 seasons almost at this point. And I had no idea Meri even had a Stonehenge fetish. So
I know.
Cool to know. She talked about the documentary she watched.
See, and we're learning so much more in these recent seasons, especially this one and the last, about the actual sister wives and who they are, and not just them as moms and wives and how they navigate plural marriage. There's parts about this that's just so different than it was before, but I am enjoying seeing their lives.
Yeah, kind of giving My Strange Addiction, I'm in love with Stonehenge. The guy that was dating the Eiffel Tower or something, that's what I was.
Yeah, or when they used to have that, what was it, True Life on MTV, they'd have some weird ones on there too. That is hilarious. You're right, though. I would have went back and taken a few pictures last episode of that part.
When she's crying in the middle.
She was crying at every turn. She was either crying or beaming in every photo, just smiling from ear to ear or completely sobbing.
Listen, I'd be excited to go to Italy and see the monuments and stuff, but people know that's what I'm about. This is new to me. I did not know Meri was this invested.
I think we have production to blame for that part, for sure.
Probably. I bet she said it in every interview and they just cut it out this whole time. Can you imagine?
She probably has been talking about it for 20 seasons. That's probably what happened with Cody, too. She's just been talking about it. He just cut it out. He even said as much. He called it selective memory.
Yeah, he don't remember. That's why I almost didn't believe her when she said it to Cody, and he's like, what? I was like, I knew it. I knew Meri was making this up. This is a new fetish of hers. This hasn't spanned 20 years.
And then they used that old picture of her that they've been using for 19 seasons of her in some campfire poking a fire with a stick. She was probably on a weekend trip or something. She wasn't living in the mountains, do you think? I know they lived in Montana for a bit.
Yeah.
But do you think they lived like that, her and Cody in their jean jacket and pants?
Yes.
Heating their little cozy cabin with a fire?
That's probably why they had so much conflict in those first couple years that they had to get Janelle.
It's just hard to imagine because the Meri I know needs a wet bar and all kinds of things. So I don't, she doesn't like circles and stuff.
But maybe that's why. It's because of what she went through.
Maybe that's why. I don't know. But we are way off track.
Those are squares, aren't they? Stonehenge. Lots of rectangles and squares.
Those are rectangles. That's why they fit so well together. She doesn't like circles because they don't fit well together. You could have never created Stonehenge with circles.
Not a single circle inside.
Not a single circle.
Imagine that's what she was thinking when she watched the documentary. She's like, wow, not a single circle.
I bet you that's why that was a Stonehenge-inspired little closet back there. I don't want a circle. They were not in Stonehenge. They will not be here. I wonder who she went with. I mean, you're right. She just has such an active social life.
She could have went with anyone, but I think she said she went alone. I don't remember. Anyways, back to the episode. So Christine goes wedding dress shopping, and this was my favorite one. I was like, the first one was the best one too.
It sort of reminded me of my wedding dress. Not so much the top, but the
bottom,
the sparkles and the florals.
I just thought it looked the best on her too. It was so flattering.
Good. So
it looked like a princess.
The rest of these dresses were not my fave, and I'm saying that kindly. I don't want to be rude.
I guess it's just not my style. I like a nice little bit of poof, but she just looked really good at this. And I felt like the other ones, the way they hugged her body just wasn't as flattering. I mean, Christine looks great. I mean, she looked good in all the other dresses too, besides the one that had all the weird straps and then the one that you could see her crotch.
But, I mean, even like look at her face in this dress.
Yeah, it was my favorite.
Everyone loves it. I understand looking at more and everything, but this is the one that gave her the most form-fitting. She does not do a mermaid dress well. She should have learned that from her first wedding.
Yes, I wish that I did not know what her real dress looked like when I watched this, because then I was just comparing all of them, and I already know what Christine's dress looks like, and then I get to see her in better looking dresses. So I was like, Christine, why did you pick dress number 1? I absolutely loved it.
You know why? It's because she only had 45 days. 45 days they had to design it.
At the end, they ended up doing a custom dress. They kind of took all the qualities that she liked in these dresses and kind of put it together. I thought that was a good idea because Christine, she liked just certain pieces, but she couldn't find something with all of it that she liked. I thought the best part of her trying on the dresses was seeing when everybody was yelling at her when she could see her crotch. McKelty called it the BJ dress. Funny. And I loved seeing her mom and David's mom there.
It is what we were looking for, or what she was looking for, but it looks like it could have used another alterations appointment or something.
Yeah, like she lost weight or something like that. It just kind of looked a little boxy on her.
She was kind of losing weight at the time, but I don't know. It's just we have the actual dress that she wore, and then this is even just the very first dress. I get that it's pinned up. I get that it's not exactly altered, but much better.
I think she looked gorgeous in that first dress. I would have been one and done with that. That was beautiful. It's just fit her perfectly. Like you said, it's pinned up, but at the same breath, that's what they're going to do with the alterations appointment and then make the alteration. So I also didn't mind this one that she had on too. I liked the first two.
This is sort of the top that she ended up going for. But I loved this, but it's not a wedding dress. But she did look good in this, and that she had a little waist, you know?
Yeah, but she didn't want a waist for some reason. And I'm like, for what? You have a waist.
She wanted that mermaid. I don't think that looks
good. But mermaids have waists. You can have it go in at the waist a little bit and still have it come out and go back in. That's just crazy. It was like she wanted to kind of still have that feel from her first wedding where she was in a balloon.
I know, and that's what confused me. And she talked a lot about wanting to have the mocha color like this dress underneath and then have all the floral like appliques and stuff be white. But that is not what she ended up with either.
No.
I don't want to talk badly about this designer. I think it's the woman who was helping her, but they're not good.
Well, the thing is, so we haven't seen all this come. Oh my God. So we haven't seen all this come to fruition, right? So they might have designed something and she changed her mind on certain things. So I guess we'll have to see the wedding dress designing process. But Christine approved it at the end of the day.
Approved it on a short time crunch, and that's her own fault, yes. But
yeah.
She had more time. I don't think she would have ended up with the dress she got married in.
She also might have been constricted by certain things. Like maybe they couldn't get that mocha fabric, in the right time frame or something like that. Maybe she had to make some compromises along the way to get it done in the time frame. But yeah, I mean, she got the venue within a whole year in advance. I think she could have hurried it up and went over to the dress shop right after.
That's the thing. I think if she wanted to have enough time, I think she would have had enough time. So I don't know. I was confused by that.
I liked that previous dress or whatever. I liked that dress, just not on Christine. I was like, this isn't a Christine dress. This is a
this one. It just doesn't flatter her. It looks like a sweater that got too long. Like that didn't get cut off at the sweater length. Right here is where it should have ended. And I mean, I'm not a fashionista. I maybe there's things here that I don't understand.
I just felt like it could have been more flattering for her. I just felt like the first one was so flattering. She looked like a princess, and Christine's so fairy tale to me. I just would have loved to see her in like a more ball gowny type of gown, but had maybe a mermaid dress to change into for the reception. I think that would have been probably, David's all for options. She could have had 2 dresses.
David loves options. He is full of money, or I'm guessing TLC probably paid a little good chunk of this as well, if not all. But it was nice to see David's mom there. She's like 92 or something. So, I mean, that was pretty special that she could come be part of it.
And Christine and David and gang all decided to go cake testing. They have like 6 cakes out there. They got 6 flavors. I don't remember them all. I know they had a chocolate, a carrot, whatever. It's besides the point. But
Christine is always obsessed with the German chocolate cake. Every single time she's taken her children, that's the one she always picks. I don't know why they even came for this cake tasting. She knows what she was going to pick.
She's going to get 3 cakes, though.
She is going to get 3 cakes. There was a little funny thing about the naked.
When Christine said we could do him naked, and this confused the hell out of David. He's like, what is that? My husband said the same thing when she said, oh, we could do it naked. My husband was like, what? I just laughed because it was the same reaction.
So funny because right before they were asking about a groom's cake and they had brought up maybe it could be boobs, and Christine was trying to act as if she was offended. We're talking about cakes and cakes only, and then all of a sudden she's talking about being naked, and everyone's like, what the hell?
Yeah, with the groom's cake, McKelty's like, oh, why don't we get him a cake of boobs? And Christine's like, I've been jealous for too many years. I'm not going to be jealous anymore. And then Truly's like, what if they're your boobs? And I died.
Little old baby Truly.
And she's like, Truly, that's inappropriate. Truly's over here with her purple hair. She's already evolving.
She is. Yeah, we love Truly. And she does seem to be happy with the whole David situation. I haven't seen this much of her personality in a while, and I don't know if that's just, again, because we're seeing a lot more of the wives' lives independently, but she's got a fun little self about her.
Every time I see Truly, I giggle. She's either doing something silly or she's reading a book in the middle of the living room or
she's trying to get the tea.
Yeah. Funny thing is with Christine's kids, they've all just kind of grown to accept it. They all are just kind of like, well, this is happening. I guess I'm accepting it.
Christine's not giving them an option, which I have mixed feelings about, but the majority of her kids are old enough and Truly seems fine. So I'm fine with it ultimately. But yeah, Christine and David wouldn't care anyway. So I think they do sort of have to just go along with it. And there's nothing not to like. It's just fast. And I hate myself that I'm even just regurgitating what all the kids are saying.
I do wonder if there's a prenup involved. I've never really looked into it, but
have done okay for himself. Not raking in thousands of dollars an episode, which I've heard they're doing these days, which is a new thing. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I wonder, because a lot of times even people who aren't famous have prenups for certain items, you know, like cars or things like that. So who's to know? But anyways, that was a nice little break from the family nonsense to kind of watch Christine's wedding planning. And I laughed a little, chuckled. Maybe I threw out a smile here and there. But then I got to see Sob and Robyn have a conversation with her girls.
With her baby Sobbins.
Little Sobbins. Her and Brianna were washing the dishes. That was a weird little scene that they tried to make it seem like this is all impromptu. No, we know you're here, TLC, to film this conversation. Don't pretend they're just working in the kitchen for a minute and then they just, oh, well, can we talk about this now? Like, no,
Robyn's such a terrible actress. Just
horrible.
Awful.
She's like, oh, can I go get Aurora? Because she's been kind of saying the same thing.
You can just flush it all out.
Like a toilet.
An organic toilet flush.
That's why I was in the bathroom on New Year's Eve. I was just flushing it out with my camera, crying in the bathroom.
I'm done with Robyn.
Her hostage video was in the bathroom because she was just flushing it out.
She was certainly flushing it out. Physically, spiritually, emotionally. Everything was being flushed. She should flush as her damn marriage as well, but
she should. But instead, she brought her little Sobbins over to do a group flush about religion. They're having this ping-pongy back and forth conversation about going to church. I kind of think it's straightforward.
I think it's straightforward for most people, but I do sort of get what Robyn is saying. I think Robyn wants them to be involved in a religion that accepts and encourages plural marriage more than these girls want to be in a religion that accepts and encourages plural marriage. So she and Cody have decided to just stay away from it because God forbid they expose their children to a church that does not encourage plural marriage. So I think that they've been hitting up against this wall for a while about the kids just wanting to go to church and Cody and Robyn not wanting to be involved in a church that doesn't support what they do or did or whatever, as Robyn says. She doesn't even know what she is anymore. Just let your kids go to church. They are begging for a community. You brought them into this family. You and Cody promised them that they were going to have 18 siblings in this big happy life. Then everybody disappeared. And now you won't even let them go to church to have a community. And listen, these girls are in college. I don't care if they live at home. They are adults. They can go to church. They can go to as many churches as they want. They don't need their mommy church shopping with them.
I know. I've never in my life seen 20-year-olds or older teenagers that have to ask their parents if they can go to church well after they've graduated high school and are already in college. Let's go. Just
look how scared she is to talk to her mom about wanting to date a church man, a God-fearing man. I mean, geez Louise, this is insane.
And then Robyn undermines her by saying, or some girlfriends. Your kids are going to date. Your kids are going to date. They might make mistakes. They might not make mistakes. Just let them be. They're in their 20s. They looked depressed, all of them.
I know. They're all going to get your face. Look at all the freaking frown lines.
Yeah, she thinks just overdrawing those eyebrows is going to cover up some of them frown lines, but I see them.
You better cover up your whole damn forehead, Robyn, if you want to do that. They just want to talk to some people about some wholesome things. Yeah, she has raised these kids to be wholesome and quiet and religious and whatever, which is hard in this day and age to connect with people unless you can find a group where everyone is doing that.
There comes a point when you're a parent where what you've taught your kids at this point is what you've taught them, and now they just need to go on their own and fly. There's nothing else you can do in this situation. She just needs to let the leash off of her kids, let them move out of the damn house, maybe go to college in a different state. She brought these kids over here when they were already, I want to say adults, but like older teenagers. They came over, didn't have any friends, probably. It's probably been difficult on that front. So if somebody who wants to go make friends at a church, just let them go. I know that Robyn's like, they shouldn't be joining a church to date and blah, blah, blah. But isn't that what polygamy churches, isn't that what they all do?
Isn't that what Robyn did? I mean, they gave us that flashback of Robyn at age 12, all done up in her polygamy dress.
The keep sweet dress.
Stop it right now. That's why your whole family indoctrinated you into this religion, was for you to find a man. So don't, I mean, I guess I would see you maybe not wanting that for your kids, but that's not the perspective she's actually taking.
Yeah.
She just doesn't want to let go of her baby side. They're like little duplicates of her.
They are.
They're so sad all the time. And that's what upsets me, is they're both adults at this point. They're both going to college. I'm sure it's hard to make friends, but I'm sure they have at least a few friends. And yet they live this just sad, isolated life. I mean, let's be real. Robyn and Cody are rich for all intensive purposes. They just bought a $2 million home. They just sold this home they're sitting in for millions of dollars. They're raking in money from this season, like more apparently than they've ever made before. These girls are young and pretty and in college and rich. They should be smiling. And I don't want to be like that, but just have some fun. Do something cool with them. Go shopping with them, not for a church.
Or send someone else to do something cool with them, because I don't know if you're going to be much help anymore. If Sob and Robyn speaks to these girls in private the way that she preached about her virginity in front of the whole family, imagine all the trauma these girls have witnessed just from these conversations that she's had to scare them straight.
Like, you're right. And that's what I mean. She's just completely turned them into these terrified, sad girls. There's no reason, according to their outside lives that we see, that they should be this sad, other than the fact that Robyn has convinced them that the world is bad and that their family hates them. And none of that is true. I think most of the siblings would love to talk to them if Robyn didn't insert herself, just like she inserts herself in everything, their religion, their lack of dating, probably exactly what they went to college and exactly what they majored in. This is not how you raise an adult. This is sad.
I don't know if they're always sad or whatever, but the looks on their faces every time we see them is always sad.
Like, the only time they smiled this scene was when they were like, do you want to go church shopping? Yeah. That's the only time you got to smile. Looks like she's crying there.
And what does church shopping mean? Does that mean they're just going to keep going to random services until they figure out what one they like?
Yeah, I mean, I think Robyn's a little concerned about this because obviously Cody's not into the church scene these days, and she's not sure exactly what type of church these kids are referring to. So I think that just makes her feel a little leery. I think that's probably a good feeling to have, because religion is a big thing, especially for them. Their whole life has been built around a belief. And now they're not even sure if they believe that anymore. I can get that it'd be hard, but guess what, Robyn? It's not your religion. Your kids want to go do it. So just support them. If they need you to go with them to their weird random services, whatever. But
and there's non-denominational churches and all types of stuff. There's so many options. Just let them be free and figure out what they want to do on their own. Maybe each girl has individual needs as well.
There are churches, a plethora of them, on college campuses. I remember there being 2 or 3 different types of churches on my actual campus that I walked by every single day. It just baffles me that they're having to sit down with their mom at 20 and probably 22 at this point. I mean, I'm just guessing, but they're in college. So, geez Louise.
Well, we needed some content, apparently. We needed to see Robyn in action. They want to do an action scene with Robyn in the kitchen and talking to her girls. I do want to say, whoever did Robyn's makeup and put those false lashes on her but did not overline her lips, no, thank you. At least if you're going to make her look a little like a hoochie mama, overline those lips.
She would have looked a lot better with that added.
I think I would have laughed, but I also would have loved it. Now that Meri's gone, she's putting on false lashes.
She's the shy, pretty wife. She has to keep up with that now. The final thing that Cody says in the episode is that Christine told all the children, basically, because he's referring to Christine's children and Janelle's, which is pretty much all
Most
the
of
kids.
them.
Christine told all the kids that I'm leaving your dad because your dad has a soulmate in Robyn and I want to find a soulmate in myself, which I think is valid. I don't know if you should tell your kids that, but that's the truth. Obviously, that made Cody very angry for a while, but now he's more inclined to accept that. And I think that they overlaid that over the cake tasting to sort of remind us all that Cody is saying he's over everything with Christine. I don't think he's going to be friends with Christine like he's trying to be with Meri, but I think he's truly just going to separate himself emotionally, mentally, whatever. So I hope Cody doesn't talk anymore about Christine.
And that's why he's like, I don't think she really wants me in her business. So
I don't know what she's doing. I don't care to know what she's doing. I brought this up earlier, but there was a rumor that, especially in these next seasons, because apparently they're filming for next season already, but Cody has been keeping tabs on his kids and his ex-wives, apparently, supposedly, through production. But that's apparently how he's going to find out that Janelle is moving, even though Janelle doesn't tell him that Janelle is moving, but he finds out through production. And I guess we're going to see him find that out in real time through production. So I think production is also being a little bit messy at this point, not to keep these people's lives individual, and they're probably doing that intentionally. I've also heard rumors that the production has changed recently, or at least the main producer, and that's why it's been a lot less supportive of Cody and plural marriage. Forget where I hear all this stuff because I just listen to stuff all day, so I would cite sources if I had them, but I don't.
Well, they do like to pull everybody into everybody else's business. They'll see a scene about one thing and they're talking about another. You'll see Christine going dress shopping, but then they got to throw in that Janelle wore a green dress, which we know. Okay, I don't need Janelle to tell me her dress was green and she didn't wear a wedding dress. Do you know how many times that lady has told me that?
I've already heard 3 damn times that Janelle doesn't want to wear a dress if she gets married again. She wants to wear jeans, and she wants it to be on the mountain. And I had to hear this again for the 3rd time.
This season,
yeah.
This season. Only interesting thing I thought, which it's probably been mentioned before, but for some reason everything else is just like so regurgitated that takes precedence, but that her mom was going to save her from polygamy by showing up to like her wedding and stuff, but then she ended up falling in love with Cody's dad and marrying him, and then she was the only one supportive of it. So,
yeah, that's a classic story of the Browns. I think to hear.
And I think part of why her family was so unsupportive was because she was originally married to Meri's brother. Can we not remember that?
Right.
Well, anyways. What's for next time?
Next time, they gave us just a little brief one here, but Christine and David are going to have an engagement party. I love them, but they're giving me too much. Cody and Robyn are going to have dinner in an attic.
The same house restaurant, but in the attic portion.
I thought it was the same place.
I know those low ceilings.
I know. It's crazy.
We have to eat there. Like, I need to know what's there.
I know. We really should have a trip.
We really should.
Apparently at dinner, Cody wants to confirm that God led him to Robyn and everything's been divinely inspired. So we'll see.
God, Meri, same thing.
Same thing, yeah. Meri, in the next episode, also continues to discuss Cody and says something about she's not going to stick around for the next 10 years, calls him a dumbass. So it's so weird. I think she's getting to that point where she's getting irritated, but it seems that in the time jumping that we're doing, she's really been struggling in these last couple of months. I think Cody just planted a bomb in her brain when he cried, when he dropped her off in Pair 1, and she's just been trying to work through that for a long time. I think we're getting there, though.
I would have thought she would already had that thought, though, before the divorce, because she already divorced.
I would have thought so, too. But then I think when he cried, threw off her whole idea of what Cody thought about her. And so she has to keep reminding herself now that.
It made me wonder if Cody had had a conversation with her again.
He had said in either this episode or the one before that nowadays when Meri calls, he hops right up. He's got to go over to see Meri.
I know.
If you would have done that when you were married, you guys might be married. And now I understand why Meri does this back and forth. But he didn't, and he probably won't. But he's just doing it now because it's easy for him.
Wouldn't be Cody Brown if he wasn't doing shit that was just easy for him.
Prayer.
Thank you, Chick Chatters, for watching. We should be able to cover the next episode. We don't have any hiatuses coming up anytime soon.
Well, I am going to Barbados soon.
Oh, we'll have a small hiatus soon, but I still might be here. I don't know. We'll see.
Possible.
Anything's possible on this channel.
Strap in, subscribe, share the videos, turn your notifications on, stay with us.
And reduce, reuse, recycle, Rihanna, and goodbye. Until next time.
Until next time.
Next time. The time of next.